richer, sexier, more fashionable? Tonight on PM Magazine, get a preview of TV's Glamor Wars. Watch Dallas and Knots Landing team up against Dynasty for a battle that won't be fought in the oil fields.
Skimming the Earth at 100 feet above ground, these spy planes are on a dangerous mission. See how they sneak across enemy lines to photograph targets without getting caught.
And they look like creatures from outer space, but they could help solve our energy problems. Take a look at the newest Windmills.
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Winter's coming, and Jane has got some predictions about what we can expect in Pennsylvania. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to PM Magazine tonight. I'm Chad Booth in Susquehanna County in the beautiful mountaintop city of Montrose.
I'm Jane Adonizio. Tonight I'm in Starlight, Pennsylvania at the Starlight Inn. We'll be in 2 different locations tonight, but Chad and I will be bringing you one great show of fall foliage.
But first, we're going to get off to our top story of the evening. It's about the Glamor Wars. Now, the TV series Dynasty and Dallas are competing for the audiences this year. Well, how do they do it? Their secret weapon is the fashions that they use.
All the Ewing women have had terrible luck.
Yes, it's time again for our favorite TV families, the Carringtons and the Ewings, to let us watch as they deal with such mundane family affairs as attempted murder, organized crime, and adultery. Seems like whoever outdoes the other gets the prize, called ratings, which is far more important than some measly oil deal.
I'm Dale Harimoto. The winner this year might just be determined by who outdoes who in the glamour department. Last year, Dynasty walked off with top honors with their high-fashion line of jewelry, furs, and clothing. But #1 ranked Dallas and its spin-off Knots Landing aren't about to take that lying down. In an effort to combat the razzle-dazzle of Dynasty, they've come up with a secret weapon of their own.
Weapon is named William Trevia, Bill to his friends, and it's his job to create clothes for those soapy Lorimar sagas Dallas and Knots Landing. His list of Oscar and Emmy Awards and nominations would choke a clothes horse. Some of Bill's most famous designs were draped around the likes of Marilyn Monroe. Who could forget this fluffy little number from 7-Year Itch? But while Bill will prepare the wardrobe for the entire cast of both Dallas and Knots Landing, his primary emphasis will be on the ladies.
I only love a woman when she's beautiful, at her most beautiful, and that to me is glamorous. And if I can make her sing from the outside, she'll sing from the inside and spell out, I'm glamorous.
The wardrobe wars began when the ladies of Dynasty began sporting the fashions of famous designer Nolan Miller. Soon, folks paid more attention to what Joan Collins was wearing than to what she said. Not to be outdone, producers for Knots Landing and Dallas wanted dazzling duds too. And along came Bill.
We are going to make this a fashion show as well as a wonderful drama. And there's not a reason in the world, in all believability, why these ladies shouldn't have the most beautiful clothes in the world. They can afford them, so now we're going to show them that they have them. Dolores?
Oh, that is beautiful.
This is a kabuki coat.
Oh, Bill, I think this is just perfect for me.
Yeah, I do too. And it's all double. It's silk jersey.
Oh, now
all
who
draped.
wears this?
This is going to be Linda Gray when we have the big ball at the Oil Barons Club, which is an annual event. And I see her looking gloriously like that.
On Knots Landing, Donna Mills plays the conniving and ambitious Abby Ewing.
Come on, you can tell me.
But even a real witch has to be glamorous.
He's told me that he sees Abby as very sensual, yet strong. Different than some of the other characters who are strong and sort of more, I don't know how to say square. I don't mean square, but more of an angular kind of design. He sees me as being very sensual.
Also on Knots Landing, lovely Lisa Hartman has had more lives than a die-hard battery. Already killed off once, she reincarnated as a new character last season and loves her new look, courtesy of Trevia.
I think there's more of a style there now. I think that's what Bill has brought to and given all of us. There's more of a maybe consistency or consistent look because of him.
Meanwhile, among the Dallas cast, Susan Howard, who plays Donna Krebs, is enjoying her new panache.
Now let me tell you why it's absolutely incredible. Because I feel good in it.
That's where it is. Thank you.
Yes, success is the bottom line in Hollywood. Maybe in this case we should call it the hemline. For this season, the question may not be who shot JR, but who dressed Sue Ellen. And we know the answer to that question already.
Dynasty has definitely been a trendsetter, but the women of Dallas and Knots Landing are not to be outdone, and so the stage is set for TV's wardrobe war.
You know, the use of fashions as a weapon in the entertainment business really shouldn't be that surprising. There are hundreds of consultants all over the country that help executives choose their wardrobes to get an advancement or to do better in their job. And we'll have more to see in Montrose.
And we'll show you more of nature's splendor from Starlight, Pennsylvania when we come back. We'll also go flying barely 100 feet off the ground in a super spy plane.
Sakes alive, we got value at your Pennsylvania Mazda dealers now.
Bet you can't beat Mazda truck value, and at just $59.95, our Mazda B2000 SE5 proves it. SE5 comes with all these 40 features standard. The competition can't beat that value at this price. Our SE5's a sporty truck priced like one of their plain base trucks. That's why we bet you can't beat Mazda truck value. See your local Mazda dealer today in Dunmore, Williamsport, and Kingston.
PM Magazine.
You're looking at the Walter Farm here in Starlight, PA. Welcome back to PM Magazine. Now I'm standing right near the Starlight Inn's 30 miles of cross-country ski trails. Now if you really want to take some time this winter and enjoy the sights, you can do it right here. And talk about relaxing. Just check out those cows behind me.
Now over here in Montrose, people like to take their time to enjoy the beauties of autumn. Like these two ladies who decided to ride into town to make their deposit in the bank today. Now, we're off to our next story right now. We're going to go to Reno in Nevada. Now, this is a place where fighter pilots get the most exciting job they can possibly do. It's called low-level reconnaissance. That's where they take a fighter plane and fly it at top speed just a few hundred feet off the ground. Watch this.
The quiet beauty of the Nevada desert. Remote, empty, desolate. A perfect day for some photography. These are photographers for the Nevada National Air Guard in Reno. Their mission is low-altitude reconnaissance. To avoid being seen, they fly low and fast. Very low. This is radical flying, skimming the desert at and below 100 feet and at speeds well above 600 miles an hour.
It's kind of like opening your car door and looking down at the pavement. Things are moving by pretty quick.
The unit adopted the name High Rollers. One of the talented full-time pilots with the Air Guard is Lieutenant Colonel Jack Thomas. At 43, with thousands of hours of flight time, Jack is one of the most experienced pilots in the unit. Captain Larry Matlock is 33, a backseater who is responsible for navigation and camera operation. Experience is the name of the game here. It's the first experience at low flying that's the hardest.
It was the most radical thing I'd ever been through in my life. I spent about, the first 10 minutes of the flight was fine, but as soon as we got on our low level, I got extremely ill. And I spent the next 45 minutes wondering how I was going to get through my career in this airplane. But after a couple of rides, I settled down, and boy, I wouldn't trade it for anything now. I love it. You know, the feeling that you get, I don't care if it's your 5th time up or you've been up 1,000 times. I think all of us still get excited every time we put our G-suit on and grab our helmet and go out to fly, because there's always something a little bit different than the last time you went out. There is something to be said about being able to go out at 100 feet and enter a MOA and pull the nose up and climb up through 23,000 feet in a matter of, you know, a minute or so. You just can't compare it to anything else we do.
The Phantom F-4s are equipped with sophisticated cameras that can look forward, down, and from horizon to horizon. And unlike high-altitude spy planes, who are vulnerable only to missiles, the high rollers have to worry about birds, turbulence, and the ground. This is real high-speed photography. No armament at all. The only thing they can do is hide. That's where the low flying comes in. It's not an air show, it's survival. This is really a step back to the seat of the pants flying. There are no high-tech controls or instruments to help Jack stay off the desert floor. It's all up to his own perceptions and his own skills.
Most lay people on the street think that you have some kind of an instrument in the airplane to tell you how high you are, but at that altitude it's all eyeball to ground. There are no instruments there. You have instruments, of course, telling you what your heading and what your ground speed is, but as far as what your altitude above the deck is, above the ground, that's pure eyeball.
The aircraft engines are shut down, the cameras are unloaded. In a matter of minutes, the film is ready for inspection. They rarely ever make prints of the pictures. That would take too much time. The aircrew will instead study the negatives with a photo intelligence officer to point out the target. These images are what it's all about. In action, the targets would be behind enemy lines. Today, the practice targets are microwave towers, railroad tracks, and roads.
Well, anybody can go out and fly low and fast to get the job done at the same time, because many of the targets we have are tiny little targets that are very hard to acquire, and when you're down at 100 feet that fast, navigation is very important, but the most important thing is not to hit the ground.
The remarkable thing here isn't the clarity of the pictures or the detail they show. The amazing thing is the way these pilots fly. They are low altitude high rollers.
At one point during the taping of that story, our cameraman was actually standing on a hill while the plane flew beneath him. That's how low those planes fly. It can take a pilot 5 years to become a top-notch, low-altitude flyer. No airplanes flying through Starlight, PA today, just the peaceful serenity of nature taking her course.
There are a lot of exciting, beautiful colors of fall that surround the city of Montrose, and we're going to be taking a look at more of them when we come back. We'll also discover about a man who's turned the windmills of his mind into a reality.
Don't be a crab. Eat a delicious seafood original at Vic Mars. Don't be a crab. Eat a great tasting lobster tail platter at Vic Mars.
Crabs all over the area are putting smiles back on their faces when they dine at Vic Mars Seafood Restaurant, Edwardsville. Just looking at one of Vic Mars seafood platters can turn a dreary day into a happy one.
So don't be a crab. Have dinner at Vic Mars.
PM Magazine.
Welcome back to PM Magazine in Montrose. You know, this is a delightful little town to be in because the city and the autumn go hand in hand. As a matter of fact, all you have to do is stroll through any one of the neighborhoods to enjoy the beautiful changing of the fall colors.
Rather removed from the city, I'm enjoying the fall colors at the foothills of what's known as the Music Range of the Appalachian Trail. But right now we're going off to Northern California to see a spectacular sight. Acres and acres of high-tech windmills at a very futuristic farm.
The men who work here have a saying about the idle windmills of Altamont Pass. You should have seen them spin yesterday. Here's another saying. Windmills work best around midnight. Idle windmills rarely send panic through the workers here. In fact, it's a blessing. It's an ideal time to do maintenance work on the machines. Altamont Pass, about 80 miles east of San Francisco, is home to the largest windmill farm in the country. 2,200 mills have been crammed into this pass. The number is expected to double next year. They come in 14 different shapes and sizes. Last year, these blades turned out enough power to run 55,000 homes. There is very little wind during the morning hours, but by 2 or 3 in the afternoon, the air begins to move. Windmasters take advantage of the slack time.
I never heard the term windmaster until I came to this job. Windmaster would be somebody who is involved in all aspects of wind energy, from designing windmills, troubleshooting them, operating them, repairing them.
29 is pretty young for such a lofty title, but Jim Rowan is more than just a windmaster. He's also an electrical engineer. And one more distinction, Jim is one of the original pioneers in the windmill business. He settled in the Altamont Pass with his wind machines. That was in 1981. These wind machines stand 75 feet tall. There are 56 turbines in Jim's wind farm. He checks each one of them every day. To help cut down on the weight and catch the wind more easily, the blades are made of fiberglass. And as the winds reach 7 to 10 miles per hour, modern technology lends a helping hand.
In the base of each machine is a computer. The computer is in complete control of the machine, from pointing it into the wind, controlling the blades to start it up. That computer keeps track of probably 50 different functions.
Air really begins to howl, the computers have locked the giants into position. They don't produce usable electricity until the winds reach 10 to 15 miles an hour, and peak performance won't come until they reach 28 to 35. Jim says each fan can generate enough power to run about 100 homes.
When I'm out walking in the wind farm, it gives me an incredible feeling. It's really moving to see so much power being generated.
The theory that more wind is better is wrong. When the winds reach 55 to 60 miles an hour, the computers shut down the mills automatically. Excessive spinning can turn a $200,000 windmill into a useless pinwheel by burning up the generators. The prettiest music to a windmaster is the hum from a finely tuned windmill. The mills will play that tune 8 to 12 hours each night, and the peak season is from May until the end of September. That's just fine for the utility companies, since peak demand for power comes in the summertime. The high point of the day comes with the arrival of a new calf. Soon, the little critter will learn to do as all cows do, to turn its back to the wind. Something Jim can't do until his windmills are tuned and turned and humming. Then he can head for home. The computers will handle the windmaster's chores through the rest of the night.
Actually, these windmill farms are sometimes jokingly referred to as tax farms. They don't make any money, but they are a great tax write-off. And major utilities are required by law to purchase their energy. I've taken the short drive from Starlight to another great little Pennsylvania town. The name of this one, believe it, Autumn Leaves.
You know, Montrose makes a very fine place to go for a Sunday afternoon ride. You can come up here and drive through all the beautiful trees and leaves and take a look at some excellent homes. They are magnificent. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll be taking a look at our own future.
Great
great stories to read and all the program information you need in the new issue of TV Guide. That's entertainment.
PM Magazine.
From the Poconos to Montrose, aside from the changing of the leaves, there's something else. There's a crispness in the air. It signals a transition from summer to winter. The winter will soon be here. But what kind of winter are we going to have? We're going to find out right now how it compares to the rest of the country and what we've seen in the past.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful. The fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
It doesn't. A beautiful day in the Poconos. It's fall, but you know, it won't be long until winter is here, and with winter comes the inevitable, snow. Here in the Poconos, they get quite a bit of snow. Now the question is, how much snow do you think we'll get in northeastern Pennsylvania this year? Well, that's what PM Magazine went to find out. And of course, our first stop was Tom Clark's Weather Watch office for a first-hand explanation of the causes of snowstorms.
From a scientific standpoint, meteorologists look at the jet stream patterns. That is, the strong wind currents up at 30,000 feet, which steer weather systems across the country. Now, along about November, we look to see how those patterns are setting up. And if the setting up is in a cold pattern, with air coming down from Canada, while at the same time allowing a lot of moisture to come up from the south, we may be in for a lot of snow this coming winter.
Okay, Tom, we understand those scientific conditions you describe and what will happen if they're met. We'll have a lot of snow. But what about your less scientific sources? What are they saying?
Some almanacs have predicted 51 inches of snow this coming winter, which, believe it or not, is not too far from normal for this area. Many times we look at nature to see what the coming winter is going to be like. And from what we've seen up to this point, we may be in for a harsh, cold, snowy winter. Now here's an example. Some of my viewers have called and said that they've noticed a larger number of acorns than previous years. Some people have called from the Poconos and they've noticed that the bears look bigger and fatter than normal. So that's a sign it could be cold this coming winter. Squirrels, much busier than normal, gathering nuts and acorns. Now some of these clues work sometimes.
But will these natural indicators work this year? Some people probably hope not, especially in the Binghamton area, where they're predicting some of the heaviest snow in the country.
Clouds get thicker over higher elevations than they do over the valley areas, so more snow is likely to fall on Binghamton, as the Poconos, too, will see more snow than what we get here. Binghamton will be up there, probably the top 10 in the country, I would think.
After taking all these indicators into consideration, there's one we simply can't overlook.
According to caterpillar prophecy, I've noticed that the wide dark bands on the woolly bear caterpillar this year indicate a mild winter.
But, as skiers like myself say,
Our time's up for tonight. Thanks for joining us on PM Magazine as we've covered fall foliage all over our area, from Montrose
to Starlight. We say goodnight to you from the Starlight Inn. We'll see you again tomorrow at 7. Bye-bye.